Hey, we're here with Nick, Esports Director in Clark University. Nick, thank you so much for your time.
It was a pleasure being here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, so before we start, tell us a bit about you. Like, how did you get to be the Esports Director? What is your journey?
Well, I started off as a professional player,
Yeah.
playing in Rainbow Six and in Overwatch, and been in Overwatch since the game came out. I quickly transitioned to a professional coach, and I was been a in professional Overwatch since 2016. We had a great success. I was coaching European teams mostly, starting off. Started with Creation Esports. We got signed by Team Dignitas. We won a lot of great tournaments, competed with some of the best teams in the league. Um, uh, then once Overwatch League came out, Cloud9 hired me to create the academy team for their London Spitfire team called the British Hurricane. So I created a team that got signed by British Hurricane. We won a big massive championship with Overwatch contenders, and from there I was decided to go into the collegiate route because I'll be honest with you, the collegiate route's a lot more stable than the endemic esports route back then and still now. So started off with being the Overwatch coach over at Boise State, won several championships there. And then Clark University asked me to create the esports program over here near Boston. So that's where I currently do.
Great. And how did the Esports program start? Was it like a student run and then they wanted to hire you so you professionalize it, or they wanted to like start straight away with a competitive program? Like what? How was the transition in Cal
So
University with esports?
when I went to Clark University about 2 years ago, all they really had was one Rocket League team and so three people playing for fun. Who were pretty good, all things considered, and that's kind of about it. So after I got there, I laid the groundwork to create an esports community first, because that's what an esports program is. It's a community. It's not just the teams. It's not just the people who want to be the best of the best. It's creating a community that supports each other, that blends both the casual and competitive gamers. Because if you just focus on just the competitive gamers, you've got a great place for about 12 people.
Mhm.
And from there, we went from having one Rocket League team to now we have over 550 students involved in the esports program. It's been growing exponentially ever since. We have over 20 esports teams. We won multiple championships last semester alone. And I mean, it's been growing exponentially. I love it. We've got a huge esports lab currently with top of the line equipment, 3080 Ti's, 240 hertz monitors. And of course, we support our players to be able to practice at the top of their level. And if they need to go into the lands, we make sure we support them to get any lands they need to. And we host our own lands here. We have plenty of esports tournaments, but also a lot of esports, like video game events in general. So it's not just esports, it's also sort of gaming all inclusive.
That's great. And what about do you have like student positions? Like before you mentioned that the students can get a part-time job and they also get a part-time job in the esports program if they have like a talent or experience in graphic design, social media, or production. What are like the student positions that require?
Absolutely. So we do have a streaming team. We call it our casting coalition that students can be a part of, both as a caster or in production side of things, and they're involved with many of our events and streaming our matches. We have a esports interns, which we have several that are these are paid internships that get paid around I believe $18 an hour, and they help with many of our events. They help with the social media side of things, both creating graphics, social media, being able to help run a lot of these events and tournaments. We also have team managers and team captains that can be involved with these esports teams. So you don't have to be an amazing player to be involved with our amazing esports teams. And our esports teams aren't just dedicated to just the best of the best. For example, Overwatch, we had 4 different teams. League of Legends, we had 4 different teams. So there's a team for everyone that any skill level they're involved in.
That's great. And can also coaches study like bachelor degrees, not only for masters as assistant coaches, but like can they also study bachelor's degree, or it's only for like graduate assistants?
Say it one more time.
No, like can can a coach go and study a bachelor's degree in Clark University, or it's only for graduate assistants? Like when they do their masters, they can be an assistant coach in the program.
So coaches can get degrees in like undergrad or graduate, absolutely fine. And if anyone wants to try coaching, I mean that's literally my bread and butter. So I can definitely give them a lot of experience in terms of how to improve that and give them opportunities in doing so as well. Our top teams are relegated to professional coaches only. So if a coach wanted to cut their teeth on something, then it'll be something probably one of our other teams that give them a little bit a chance to kind of grow into the field and obviously get some feedback. But if someone say is absolutely exceptional at coaching as well, that's something that we look at giving them opportunities. And it's basically, I have a pretty good eye on say developing coaches to a degree and putting them in the right spot to succeed.
And when you're in a meeting, I mean, when you're interested in a player and you meet them, like have an interview to see if they're a good fit. Okay, what are the soft skills you're looking at a player?
So what I'm looking for in a player. So if first thing I want to see is that if this person wants to come to Clark University, they'd be a good fit for both the university and the esports program as a whole. It's really important to not separate the two because it's a package deal with any university you want to go to. So I kind of see, all right, what are they looking for in the university? What are they looking for in the esports program? And what are they looking for in the team? Talent, yeah, that's great. But how are they as a teammate? How are they as a student? How are they as a person? These are all things I'm going to be looking towards into this sort of interview I have with them. If they come across as someone that is, a little bit full of themselves, even if they're talented, they may not be a good fit. And in another area, if I see someone that isn't quite confident, then that's something that you want to make sure that you can work on or you're willing to latch onto and improve on over time. Everyone's going to have some strengths and weaknesses. And one of the things I'm looking for is identifying what those are, how coachable they are, where they currently come in terms of their mechanical skill, their awareness, but also, are they going to be a positive influence on a team and the esports program? And are they going to fit with the culture of the university? And that's something that is equally important to those things.
Right. And what do you expect from your players that are already in your esports program that represent your esports program and Clark University? What do you expect from them? Like to be as a student and as a player?
Good. So to take both of them seriously, they need to make sure the priorities are straight. Family comes first. Their personal mental health comes first. Then comes the university, your grades, making sure you respect your teammates, respect other people in the university, respect your coaches, and then making sure that they put in the time and dedication that the particular team they want to be involved in requires of them. Is a saying that a team is only going to be as successful as their weakest link. And that doesn't mean just by how skillful they are, but how dedicated they are to improve. And dedication is only going to take you as far as some of your skills are going to apply. So it's a double-edged sword in that regard. But overall, I'm looking at those things as well as how they react to feedback, making sure that they are something that a player and person that's going to grow within the team and also pull up the players and their teammates to make that team gel and improve over time is really important than just saying someone that, knows the game really well off the bat.
That's great. That's great. Academically, let's say a student is struggling. What's what does the program do? Like, do they put a tutor? Does it do it to talk to the professors? Because an esports program has to have a certain GPA. If the student has to maintain a certain GPA. What happens if, for example, the student is going to class, is making an effort, but is struggling? Like, what are other aids that the university can give to that student player?
So first of all, it's really important to communicate any potential troubles they have with me in particular, but also their professors. One of the biggest mistakes I see is that students are afraid or embarrassed to admit when they're struggling with something. And that is going to hurt them more than the actual struggling itself. It becomes a compound effect, a spiral that, then it becomes a little bit too late to be able to implement some easier solutions. So as long as they're open and honest about those things, you don't necessarily tell everyone, but tell people that can help them with that, then we have plenty of options to be able to, with tutors, with opportunities to talk to the professors. If they're part of an esports team, I would suggest giving them some more time off so they can study and focus on their studies primarily. Again, university comes first, esports comes second. We can make sure that that's always the priority, so that if they are struggling in the university, to take a step back, focus on that, get to a more comfortable level, and ease that themselves back into the esports program. Because you can't do the esports without succeeding in the academics.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And are there many of your players or like students involved in the esports program when they graduate or when they're in the program? Are they seeking for internships inside the esports sector or like jobs in the esports sector, or they're just using esports like to like finance their studies and have a great time, but they will graduate in their specific degree and then go to the workforce? And I'm working at like, what is the how do you describe the students in your esports program?
One of the best things about Clark University is our connections with other esports opportunities, but also other opportunities with when their degree is being focused on. There's a lot of people that come to Clark University as esports isn't what they want their degree to be about. Esports is a portion of that they enjoy. And there are those that actually want to take esports and expand on that. We have opportunities in both regards. Clark University is also a very prestigious academic university in the Boston area, and we're located in Worcester. That is creates plenty of opportunities beyond esports. But with esports involved, we got a partnership with Oxygen Esports, who run Boston Uprising. They're in the Boston Breach, etc. There's plenty of opportunities as internships and jobs in that regard. We had a recent graduate that became a director of esports at a university nearby. We have opportunities where we have connections with professional teams to where if they excel enough, they could get tryouts and potentially join these pro teams afterwards. And if it's not as a player, we have opportunities as social media opportunities, team manager opportunities, and as well as the business side of things in esports, which opens up a lot of different doors. A lot of things you can do in esports beyond just being a player. And we have we make sure that we excel at opening the doors of these opportunities for them.
That's great. And how do you make sure they have a good balance of both in their studies and in esports? Like, how would a day-to-day look for a player? Like, from they wake up, they go to class, like house practice, house competition.
So
Can you, yeah,
it
just
it really
explain
that
a bit?
changes a lot depending on what
Okay.
level of team you're on and what classes you're taking. And one of the best things you can do to succeed is to make sure that you don't overload yourself with more than you can handle. A lot of players are really competitive, and I respect that, but they have to make sure that they aren't biting off more than they can chew. So what we try to do is communicate to them, all right, get a workload and a schedule that works well with you. And it's going to take a a little bit of research to make sure that the schedules don't interfere, that you have enough time for your homework. But typically you wake up, you go to classes normally in the day. You have some evening classes. I would make sure to take less of the evening classes, because that's when more of the esports schedule is going to be taking place. Esports scrims usually happen around, I would say, between 7 and 11 p.m., depending on when the scrims are going to be. We have VOD reviews as well, so you might have a VOD review into a scrim. You might have just a scrim that day. You might have a meeting. You talk about some things. Depending on what level of team you're on is going to determine what your level of commitment is to the esports schedule. So we have more casual teams where you might be scrimming, say, twice a week and then have a match once a week. And then we have more our top, more competitive teams, our varsity teams, where you might be having double blocks, which is like 2 scrims in the same day. So it's 4 hours of scrims. You might have that 3 to 4 times a day, depending on the level of competitiveness. So it just depends on, all right, are you someone that's going to be on our biggest scholarship, trying to make the biggest impact on our most competitive teams? Or are you someone that is going to be playing esports at a more moderate level, and whether that's going to be something that's going to be akin to focusing on your academics primarily? And of course, you want to focus on academics both, but there's different levels of, say, competitiveness a lot of these teams have.
And I mean, what you just described, the players do have a tight schedule between academics and esports. That's usually the case, But do you have any psychological support if the players, maybe there's certain periods in the year, or there's a certain semester in their time, in Clark, that they may be a bit feel pressured with academics and esports? Like, do you have like a department or a person that they can go to for like a sports psychologist, basically?
Well, we do have counselors. We don't have a dedicated sports psychologist, but we do have counselors that can help talk with a lot of these things that students are always welcome to communicate with, and are there primarily just to help everything go along more smoothly, help ease their minds, help them make sense of tough situations. I'm also always willing to communicate with players, especially if it's more on the esports side of things, or if there's anything academically that I can help with. I can reach out to different professors and see whether or not I can change some of the scheduling of things to make things more smoothly and help relieve some of the pressure in those regards and help ease off some of the responsibilities. But overall, we have an entire psychology department that can help with a lot of the stresses and concerns that these students have that are a lot more professional at that side of things.
That's great. That's great. And for those international students, that have to go to another continent or to another country, like as the US, in Clark, like how do you handle the adaptation? Like, how do you make sure the students adapt? I know it depends on them mainly, but like, how do you make sure they adapt as smoothly as possible?
We have an entire international center that is dedicated for international students entirely, that are help them with the transition, know more about the differences in the cultures, different responsibilities and expectations, help them with everything that is different between the country they're coming from and the current country that they're currently in, obviously America, and just the culture of the Northeast in general.
That's great. And just one last question about because I've seen photos and videos. Like, can you tell us a bit more the infrastructure that the program has? Like all the facilities. Is it inclusive? Is it inclusive? Like, can all students access to facilities? Is all only the students in the esports program? Like, just explain a
Good
bit about
question.
that.
So we have, like I said, state-of-art esports lab, great equipment, 3080 Ti, 240 Hz monitors, Logitech G Pro wireless mice. We got some good stuff there. And It is available to all students with a priority to esports teams. So it's available throughout most of the day, and anyone can utilize it. But when an esports team needs it for a practice or for a match, they get priority in that area. And oftentimes we can have multiple teams utilize it, but at the same time, if we have to say, all right, we got a match coming up, we do have a priority system in place.
That's great. That's great. And just to wrap this up, where can students find you? You and the esports program.
So, me personally, my Twitter is at Overwatch Tactic, and on Discord, it's Shifty Esports. As far as the program goes, we have the Twitter as well. It's going to be at Clark_esports. And we also have a Discord. You can get a link into our website, and I'll link you my website right now. And this website tells you more about the program. It directly gets you to the university. It has a Discord link. You can join our Discord and contact me on Discord or on Twitter. And my email as well is ntravis@clarku.edu.